Hello, hello, and how are we all doing today? Everybody, Wednesday, productive? Has it been productive? Mine's been productive. I have learned things today. Who knew? I learned things. Yep. So this is our usual catch up. It's not going to be very long. I am crocheting down here where you cannot see. I'm making a hat for my niece. It's my other kind of art. For anybody who has me on Facebook, you have seen my newest creation, my cardigan, which is downstairs waiting for me to finish the collar. But I thought I'd chill upstairs today, put you all on the computer, maybe watch some Mentalist afterwards whilst making this hat, you know, just a chilled out thing. So we're counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I forgot to count. Alright, I thought I would catch us all up on what I've been up to in the last week. Is it? I think it's a week. It's been a week. It's probably a week because that's about as often as I can be bothered at the moment. 7, 8. Hang on, let me do 4 more so I can finish off this this starting row. So yeah, it's been a week. It had some days. For those of you who don't know, I follow an alternative faith, and October the 31st is my New Year's Eve. So we're in officially a new year now. So that's pretty cool. Exciting stuff. Didn't do anything on the actual 31st, but on the 30th I went out for a meal with my little brother, and we went and watched The Lost Boys, which is officially 25 years old. I hope you all feel old. 25 years old. Honestly, like Kiefer Sutherland looks so young in it. It's insane. So what have we been up to? Well, not a lot, honestly. I've not been feeling mentally. I've not been feeling great. I don't know what's wrong with me at the minute. I'm just having a bit of a dive. So mostly it's been self-care. Mostly. I still haven't done any actual art. No, that's not true actually. I have got loads of sketches on the Remarkable of this new layout for the miniature exhibition idea that I'm going with. So obviously I'm having to do a lot of research into that. The 10th is drawing ever closer, so for those of you who don't know, I'm going to London on the 10th, and I'm finally going to get to see a Mark Dion piece in person. I likened this earlier, like somebody didn't get it. Like, for me to see a Mark Dion art piece in person would be like a normal person getting to see their favourite band live and close. You know, like the kind of the middle rows, like not so close that you can touch it. They don't let you touch it, but close enough, you know. So I'm kind of like on a countdown for that at the moment. Just like, it's gonna be interesting. I gotta be at college at some stupid hour in the morning. I'm meant to be I'm meant to be going to Birmingham this Friday for the NEC craft show, and I'm only going because it's Sam's birthday. It's a big one, and I've made her a present, and I was like, yeah, I made a present, I want to do this, it's gonna be great. And originally college were all like 15 quid coach. I was like, yes, so much cheaper than you get in the train, brilliant. Only now it's £25 on the coach, and it's not from Abbey Park, which I can get to. It's from a different campus, which I will struggle to get to for 8:30 in the morning. I don't really know what to do about it. I'm going to speak to a one-to-one lady tomorrow and see what she says. But suddenly there's a whole lot of roadblocks in the way, and I don't really know what to do about it. So that's going to be interesting. The only other option I'm going to have really is to smile very sweetly at Vince and see if he will take me over to Wolverhampton on the 5th, since I'm meeting him in Nuneaton after the MOT, and see if I can take it over then. So we'll see. Probably going to cost me less to do it that way around. Either way, I'm going to end up borrowing money. It's all good fun. So that's that going on. I got to be a guest speaker in a class this week. Not today, it was Monday. And honestly, loved it. I can see where I would have problems if I was a tutor. I can see where I would struggle, where I would lose my temper. But because I was a guest, so like there's 7 groups of like 2 or 3 kids, and each group pitched an idea that they've got for a digital installation. Wait, no bed. JJ, stop. Scratching your face. Yeah, so each group pitched an idea they've got for a digital installation. Their tutor would then give them feedback and ideas, and then I would give them feedback and ideas. Really impressed, actually, with the ideas that they'd come up with. Really impressed. The fact that they'd managed to kind of all been given this brief on kind of everyday life, and every single one of them had gone away and come back with an entirely different idea. And apart from one group, it's a daft dog. Hello, welcome to my chatting random stuff about what's going on in the art world. Hey, there is a daft dog here. He will occasionally appear. You can come say hi, JJ. Come say hi. Good boy. No, you can't have cake. Go away. No cake for you. So yeah, it went really well. I will never be a full-time teacher. That is what I learned from this teaching session. What are you trying to do? You can't get in my t-shirt. Oh my god. What are you doing? Gothrock dog being annoying. Goodness. What is going on with this as well? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it's kind of... It's been really interesting. It has been really interesting. I can't be a teacher. They were great. They were very educated, but they were also very 16 years old. And I just wanted to tell them all to shut the fuck up most of the time. But I really loved the ideas that they came out with. There was one group that... a couple of issues there. But otherwise, amazing kids. Really enjoyed it. And it looks like I'll be going back to do some more, which is a huge thing. So I'm dead excited about that. In other news, what is going on in the art world? Well, nobody's thrown any tomato soup over anything this week. I did want to ironically throw soup over my t-shirt. Just like put my t-shirt up on a wall and throw soup on it and just be like, I need sunflower oil. I'm not a bad person. I'm just misunderstood. So that's, yeah. So we've not really had, there's been a couple of other incidents around the world, but nothing quite as annoying as that one. That one, you know, that one was the worst. It just, yeah. Other than that, there's not been a lot going on this week. There's not like any major news to share. Other than, you know, I can never be a teacher. I've been doing loads of research. I have had to start doing an actual blog on WordPress because apparently I cannot just talk like this with you guys. I also have to show images, and I'm not about to start printing out images just to hold them up so you guys can see. So there is now a WordPress blog. Yeah, that's I'm learning. I learned some things today about that. I really don't like technology. I'm not a digital artist. I don't want to learn how to be a digital artist. I have no interest in being a digital artist. I am happy working with my hands, building sculptures, doing my installations, doing my miniatures. Hopefully, I'm trying to get the signal sorted in college. If I can get onto their Wi-Fi on a Wednesday in the morning, hopefully I'll be talking to you all from my actual studio space. That would be cool. You won't have to worry about my frogs in the background or anything else like that then. That would be massive. And then I can talk you through what's going on in the walls. That would be slightly better than doing it this way, I think. That's the plan anyway. I haven't figured it all out yet. It's probably going to be on my tablet, which means it's not going to be great. I don't know. I'll see. I might end up borrowing a laptop or something so I can do it. But it would be cool if I could take you all into the studio with me and show you what it is I'm talking about, because obviously I talk to you all. Oh, okay, right. So, hi, I'm Jazz, also known as Gothfrog, owner and manager of Gothfrog Art. I spent 20 odd years of my life being a goth. I love my goth work. A lot of my work is kind of juxtaposition between florals and horror. But also, I am obsessed with frogs. And I mean obsessed. I draw them. I have lots of like, hey, I know. People are collecting the bins in. I do apologise. Yeah, I draw them. I collect them. I am referred to one. They are constantly with me everywhere I go. When I came out as Jacob's opinions. When I came out as officially came out as non-binary, frog was the gender term I decided to start using because I don't know, I don't really fit anywhere else. So I am the goth frog. I am Theo, and you'll notice they are like literally, they're like everywhere. There's that guy over there. There's those guys over there. When I'm doing art on the channel, which will be coming back soon, I will be drawing some more frogs in between building miniatures for my uni work. Unfortunately at the moment I'm having to talk about what I'm doing on my uni work, although that will now slowly be phased over to taking you to the studio. Yeah. It's close enough. Yeah, so once I start doing studio work and taking you all down the studio, it means I can actually start doing art on my channel again. Ow, I am in pain today. But yeah, it's been frogs have been my obsession for like 30 odd years, and I'm in my 40s. So it's been like a massive part of my life for most of my life. So when it came to choosing a business name and a logo, choosing the frog was the way forward. And because of my ideals, because I am an eco artist, I am an eco freak, everything I do has to be sustainable. I know they're very cool. I love frogs. I love learning about frogs. Yeah, so when it came to being like I make my own paints, everything I do is as sustainable as I can humanly make it or froggily make it. And frogs are where, if I do charity donations, there's a charity in Peterborough based around frogs. There's also, like, obviously Mr. David Attenborough and his frogs. So they are like my life, everything I do. Like I've always said that if I die, everything that is not frog related has to be sold and the money has to be given to the frog charity in Peterborough. Everything that is frog related in my house, which is a lot, has to be put in a frog museum where any proceeds have to go to the frog charity. If you're gonna have an obsession, go all out. Like, I mean, I got, it's that side, isn't it? Yeah, my frog tattoos on my neck and everything. Just, it's a full-on obsession. And it, like I say, it made sense. I like to think that the frog shows my greenness, my eco-sustainability. I hope. And I don't think I could ever not be goth frog now. I think that people have known me as that for so long now. It would be difficult to change it to. I did look into changing my business name when I started this degree that I'm doing, because I'm doing a degree in running your own business, and the logistics behind that. And I did look into changing it. Firstly, my initials, when you try and make a logo out of them, kind of look like the word Jeff. And it didn't matter how I dressed it up, like JF, you can't have JFF and then the word art. Just think about this, if you will, for a moment. JFF art. I will not be known as Buttwind. Or Jeff art. Jeff art. So I did look into changing the business names, and I did think about also going from Gothfrog Art to Gothfrog Creations, because I like to do a lot of budget art and dull mods and teaching people how they can do things without spending a lot of money, how they can reuse things. And you know, because I have a very limited space and ability myself, kind of teaching others how to do things with limited budget, space and ability. So I looked into becoming Gothfrog Creations, but it just doesn't have the same ring to it as Gothfrog Art. And besides, I like my logo, really like my logo. It's like I'm never changing my logo. Let me just see if I can grab that up on my phone and show you my logo. Because, like, my logo is my life. I just search on this thing. There we go. As we can see, I am technologically inept. That's part of my logo. If you find part of my logo, that's helpful, right? Oh my god. If I wasn't in so much pain, I'd literally stand up, go over there and get it off the wall. Ah, there we go. So, see if I can get, no, that way. Oh, wait, there we go. So that is my business logo. My little frog in a little goth tree with the geometry. I like to think it's nice, and it is me. It is me in an image. That's what that is. And then it's kind of like, because it is pretty much me in an image, a little while ago I did some glass work, just stained glass work. My dad's girlfriend does stained glass type stuff, and then I did it in glass as well. So that little frog now has kind of become a little bit more central. Right, so couple of reasons. Firstly, because traditional art is dying out. I love working with my hands. I'm neurodivergent. As a kid, I was the one who wanted to touch the sculptures and feel the brush marks in a painting, you know. I love textures. I'm like surrounded by different textures. So for me, a lot of art is being able to interact and touch it, which is harder to do with, not impossible, but harder to do with digital work. From an environmental point of view, digital art is horrible. So like, just like, for example, and anybody who knows me will have heard this rant before, iPads, Apple the company, the lack of sustainability, and the worst thing is I know that the iPad is the best tool for digital art outside of expensive computer equipment. I know it is, but there is no sustainability there. They are not ethical. They are not environmentally friendly the way they're produced. Apple price you out of being able to replace parts. A friend of mine quite recently broke the screen on their iPad, and to replace that screen through Apple was nearly £300. So they don't make reusing it a viable option. That annoys me. I have tried digital art. I do own a graphics tablet. I got one for my 40th a couple of years ago, and I do occasionally dabble. I have always said that as a fine artist, I will never digitally retouch my work. When you get a piece of my work, let's say you've commissioned me, I've painted you something beautiful or something horror, whatever, fan art, whatever, I want to give you that piece of work in its entirety. That original piece of work with every brushstroke. Hey, Jace! Every brushstroke, every tiny mistake that only I will ever notice. That's what I want to give you in my art. I don't want to digitally touch that up. So that's a thing as well. And then on top of that, like I say, I'm a sculptor. I'm an installation artist. I do media. I have been known to use video and sound in my installations, but generally I don't know, it's not so much I have disdain for certain parts of digital art. If people say the word digital sculpture, I get that like little kind of pulse going, that little crazy eye, because it's not sculpture, is it? It's not sculpture. It's not even real. The exception to that rule is VR, because you are using your hands to sculpt. I don't know if it's because I'm old and set in my ways. I don't know if it's like the neurodivergence, the way the brain fires differently. I don't know if that kind of plays into it, but I just... And also, I think the other thing as well now, as I've said, I am in my 40s. It is getting harder and harder for me to catch up with what digital artists do. I mean, some of the guys in my class, they were all like between 19 and 26. What they can do with digital work is brilliant. I love it. They aren't going to be so great at picking up a brush and painting something with watercolors, but they can produce a decent piece of digital art. I can't do that. More power to them for being able to do that. And I might have to borrow their skill as we get towards the end of the year in May, when I've got to start producing stuff, yeah. But generally, I don't know, I just don't feel it. I just don't feel digital art. It doesn't give me the same joy as being able to physically touch what I'm making. I used to do a lot of wood and rock sculpting. I unfortunately physically can't do that anymore. So now I do a lot of miniature work. I do a lot of, like I say, installation. I'm working on redoing this piece behind me. Somebody gave me this canvas and I'm slowly putting more flowers onto it. You can't really see because there's crap back there at the moment, but I am kind of getting around to it. Oh, my Pepsi is very flat. I am not happy about that. Yeah, it's not a disdain. It's a if it became more environmentally friendly and sustainable and more viable from that point of view, I would be more willing to kind of look at it. And I'm not saying it's not anything to do with skill. I think the skill that goes into digital art is incredible. That what digital artists can do is brilliant. And like, I've been learning a little bit with my Remarkable, like the different brushes and things like that you can do digitally. It's fantastic. But they will never know the joy of going outside, picking some flowers. I take mine off the floor because I don't like to take them off a living plant. Putting some hot water on them, adding some alum, adding some, different chemicals, eco-friendly chemicals, turning that into paint, getting a different brush out and painting something, and knowing the entire process from start to finish. There's no filler there, there's no bad chemicals there. Like, a lot of my pigments, if you accidentally pour the water down the sink instead of, outside down the drain or whatever, you're not going to damage your pipes or the environment doing so. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it with some of my rock based ones. It's not good for your plumbing. But I know every single thing from start to finish. My brushes, so those of you who know me, I don't buy these anymore. This is the sacrificial brush. It gets used for everything. I stopped using these brushes a while ago because they are not at all sustainable in any way, shape or form. So now, like, my brushes like jumped from being affordable to being really expensive. Hey baby, what are you doing? You just settling? Okay. I had to like move the camera so people can see you in your stupidness. I wonder if I can like. No, stupid dog's kind of out of shot. That's fine. Yeah, so there's a lot of reasons. That was a really good question. Thank you for that. But yeah, no, there's a lot. This, yeah. And let me unpack that for a moment. As a professional artist, as somebody who is trying to make their living from their art, I have to care about what other people think of my skills. As a neurodivergent artist with years of trauma to unpack, I am a perfectionist and I care about my art. And you are right. I mean, I'm still not good at watercolours. I've been doing it for 3 years and I'm still not good at it. Oh my god, my sister's here. But I just. It's not necessarily the skill. It is a lot more to do with A, the environmental side, and B, the ability to use my hands. I just like to get stuck in, and there is something for me about a book. I love making books. I make books as a hobby. Just as a random hobby, I make my own notebooks, sketchbooks, and everything else like that. My sister, amongst other people, is getting one for Christmas this year. There is something satisfying about knowing that the sketchbook that I'm working in, I have made. There is a satisfaction in knowing that when I hand over something and somebody asks me, where did that paint come from? Where did that colour come from? Where did that book come from? I can sit here and go, I made it. at the same time, there is also a personal satisfaction knowing that everything that goes into my work doesn't leave an environmental damage. It doesn't have that same, because there are huge issues with art materials, and it's actually what I focus on in my degree. None of the stuff that I make has the issues. I don't use okay. I don't use acrylic paint because of the environmental issues around acrylic paint. I have recently, and very recently, I got to the point where I was so focused on my one-man army to save the world because of, you know, the environmental issues going on, that I literally had stopped enjoying things in my life. And a long conversation with both my partners and my brother and Kay have meant that I at least now allow myself to use acrylic yarn in my crochet projects. I use wool as well, as long as it's sustainable. But even the acrylic yarn that I use, I have to know country of origin, how it's made, where it's made. I have to know that there wasn't child labour involved in it. I have to know which type of chemicals they've used to make the acrylic. And if I can get my hands on the recycled acrylic, even better. So it's not even just my art, it's everything. Everything in my life is like this. So I can't just let go of that when it's everything. So it's not, it's, I can't just let go. It's literally is because of how this goes a little bit sketchy. So I've got quite a lot of frame drops going on. Yeah, so I can't. It's a simple answer. I can't just let it go. My brain won't let me. I have a very special brain. Kaylee, you didn't ring me earlier and you smell. So yeah. It's been a day. Do I? You sure about that? I'm like looking around going, do I? Oh no, like literally I've got one in my ear. Silicone. Silicone's an interesting one because yes and no. Yes and no. Right. Okay, so how silicone is made from a manufacturing point of view, it can be bad for the environment. However, the reusability of silicone. Hey, Tabitha! Tabs, baby, you're probably going to find this really annoying as a stream, but this is your, it doesn't look purple, but this is the purple for your hat. I'm making your hat right now. So yes, purely from a manufacturing point of view, silicone can be bad for the environment. However, the fact that it is so constantly reusable. For example, a silicone food wrap for wrapping a sandwich in, or you know, covering bowls in the fridge or whatever, is infinitely better than constantly using cling film. Personally, I don't know of any alternatives yet for certain things that are made from silicone. So it's a difficult one. I do have some, I mean, mostly my piercings are silicone. Mostly. And I have some silicone sculpting brushes as well. I've had them for years. Like, and that's the thing. They last. They won't suddenly break on me. And yes, on the downside of that, they last. They don't degrade quickly. But people are now getting more aware of that, and there are now becoming more environmentally friendly silicone products, which is good, because there are some things out there, like we don't even look at makeup and special effects when it comes to environmental issues or the theatre. It's a balancing act, definitely a balancing act when it comes to. I mean, I'm sat here on a computer. It's not a laptop. I refuse to have a laptop. It is a desktop. It's a refurbished desktop. The monitor was from, I think this one was actually from my husband, and the peripherals are from husband, boyfriend, brother. Definitely a balancing act when it comes to technology and silicone and kind of making life livable, because that's the other thing, is as a disabled person there are certain things I have to take into consideration, and whether I like it or not, there's not always an alternative. For example, I use a walker. I also own a wheelchair and a couple of walking sticks. Now, there are parts of my walker that are made with plastic. I can't get away from that. There isn't anybody who has decided to make sustainable walkers. But without that walker, I can't get very far. Or without a wheelchair, I can't get very far. So I still have to make allowances myself to at least be livable. But I also make sure that it is a minefield. Oh my god, it is so much. And this will mean I have to be careful, because I end up sucking the joy out of my own life. But I balance that. I get buses everywhere, or I walk as far as I can. If I get in the car, it's very rare that I will get in the car for long journeys, unless on the off chance I actually get to go on holiday, but that again is rare. And even then I will balance that out with other things in my life. Up until very recently, all of the vegetables that I ate came from an allotment shop. Unfortunately, she has just closed down, but I am trying to find a replacement for that. I think my worst sin, actually, I normally have it in cans, but Pepsi Max. It's terrible. This like, everybody has a vice. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I very rarely eat meat. Very rarely. I don't do drugs. I don't go out partying. But Pepsi Max. Everybody's gonna have one vice, right? Mine might be the most boring vice ever. Pepsi Max, and I think I've got roughly 80 varieties of tea downstairs. But the thing is, as well, is it's taken into consideration. My brother is constantly on me for this. He's not here right now. He's actually out drifting. I am one person. And no matter how much I rant and rave and try to explain things to people, I'm not going to change the world. My favourite tea, it's one that I've got downstairs. It's called Peppermint Cream, and it's an oolong tea with peppermint added into it. So it's a green tea with mint. I think that's probably one of my favourites. And currently I am trying one called Black Forest, which is like raspberries and stuff, and the Ahmed strawberry tea, which when you make it, it's a black tea with actual bits of strawberries in it. If you make it with milk, it tastes like strawberry milkshake, but it's tea. So good. And pumpkin spice. I have a pumpkin spice tea latte because pumpkin spice is life. Even if you drink tea, pumpkin spice. I mean, ew, I love it. Yes, but not in an actual car. My brother loves radio control cars. He goes over to a place in Leicestershire with his radio control car. Big one, expensive one. And he goes and chills out with lots of other grown men who also have toy cars. And he drifts them. He does also have a 4-wheel drive remote control car. My driver, he actually rides a motorbike, and I don't think you can take that drifting. Love to see him try though. His bike is big. Yeah, he's the place where he goes is over Hinkley Way. Yeah, I love to watch it. I couldn't do it. It's far too confusing. I have no idea how many stitches I've done. I know. Oh, like it's not a hat yet. I'll tell you that for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I need to do one more. I know. It's this. Anything makes him happy, really. Love my little brother. He's like the best person. Is Kaylee still here? He's my favourite sibling. Dominic K, you're my favourite sibling. Sibling war, sibling war. Oh dear. Yeah, my life is complicated. Every time I talk about it, I realise my life is complicated though, so that's fine. It's been said that I am Marmite, and you either love me or you hate me. And people that immediately hate me rarely take the time to get to know me. And the thing is, I know that I am difficult. I know. But I'm not going to change who I am to make other people happy, really. I'm not. I try. I'm trying with uni at the minute. Like, after the incident that shall never be spoken of again, after the whole thing that happened with my issues in college, I've been trying to rein myself in a little bit. But my dad always used to say that I'm a whirlwind. Like, I whirlwind in, I create chaos, and I whirlwind back out again. Like, my art space, when we looked at DMU for my fine art, I didn't go there because Dad was concerned, A, that I would never make happy art in that space because it wasn't a happy space, but also they give you quite a little area to work in, and I kind of turn into a volcano and just kind of spread and spread and spread. I did get in trouble. I did. Yeah, kind of partially my fault, partially really not my fault. Lessons have been learned. I apologised, and I even meant part of it. I am still annoyed about the entire thing, but what has annoyed me about the entire thing is that yeah, basically, without going into too much detail, I got in trouble for bullying and harassment, criticism of other people's lifestyles, and mentioning people's names on this stream. I get it. I do. But at that particular time, I was extremely angry, frustrated, and annoyed. The thing that annoyed me most of all is that the people involved didn't come to me. They didn't come to me and go, Jazz, that YouTube, that Twitch, whatever that you've put up, massively unprofessional. You've said my name in it. My future career is this. Can you take it down, please? Because I'd have been like, yeah, you're probably right, and taken it down. But they didn't do that. they went kind of straight to the top and went, this person is doing this, and in all my life, I have been bullied all my life, so to be accused of it kind of broke me a little bit. So I'm now kind of treading on eggshells in class and kind of keeping myself to myself a little bit more. It's fine. It's fine. I just kind of like, the group is getting on better now. The group is doing work. We're doing really well. We are communicating and we are all doing our research. And I think that the ideas that they have got are brilliant. I need them to kind of rein themselves in a little bit, because logically and logistically, parts of what we're doing, yeah, everything I said I meant. What I said to the people involved at the time, I meant. Like I say, what annoyed me wasn't so much having to apologise, it was being made to apologise by the head of the college in my studio space. So it kind of felt like everybody was intruding upon my space. And whilst that was happening, upstairs in another room, people were saying stuff about me that was a lot worse than anything I had said in the first place. Now, I did know immediately, as soon as I got the phone call, I knew who it was going to be. And yeah, I don't think that telling people to turn up to class is necessarily a criticism of their lifestyle, but also they are young and I get it, and how I said things was wrong. And I'd even said in a stream afterwards that how I did things was wrong, that I was an issue, and I am aware of that. And I've always been aware of that. And I had already apologised on the stream. What got me was the fact that I was reported for this a week after it had happened. Nobody had said anything to me. We'd already had further meetings with those people involved, and they hadn't said anything. And I think that annoyed me more. That and being accused of bullying. Being accused of bullying broke me. I broke down. I cried on my head tutor. I cried on my sister. I cried on my brother. I cried on my husband. I cried on my boyfriend. I cried at my dad. There was a lot of crying because I'd been accused of bullying, and that was never, ever, and never will be my intention. That's not the intention. The whole point of these blogs is for me to get my opinions out there. You know, it's my opinions on how I feel. And I've kind of had to draw back and sanitize what I say on here now, because I don't want to offend anybody else. Apart from Kaylee, who smells. But she's my sister, and that's allowed. So it's affected this, and this is 50% of one of my modules. But I've learned from it, and that's all we can do, is constantly learn. You know, I learned from doing this. I love the interactivity of doing this on Twitch. I love that. No, nobody's ever done a vlog before. This is the first time anybody's ever thought to do a vlog on Twitch or anything else, so there were no guidelines. Nobody had said to me, don't say names. And I had kind of thought that first names would be okay, because our first names are okay. Like Kaylee, for example. I'm going to use you as an example, Kaylee. Kaylee's name. You can see Kaylee at the side there. You don't know who she